it's been up and down, which I guess I'd rather have it be up and down where the highs are in contention or winning than just have it kind of like always be getting like 15th, 20th place or whatever. So I can't complain too much about the bad finishes if the good finishes are still good.
Well, that's going to be a good segue into our first official question of 20 questions with
Yeah.
Iceberg TV. Your breakthrough at the 2025 Discmania Challenge marked your first Disc Golf Pro Tour win. What was the defining moment in that tournament where you felt like the victory was actually within reach? You've been chasing it for a long time.
I mean, I think after the first round, when I was only one back of Calvin, I have the thoughts of like, okay, this could be the tournament. Anytime I'm in contention like that, I feel like I've been of the mindset of like it's possible. I think after being in the lead then by a couple strokes after the second round, it was definitely even more realistic. And then bowling the first 5 holes, the final round is like, okay, I have to just like hold on, try to get some more birdies, and then it should be mine. And then, I mean, I messed up with like 16 at the end there, which was kind of sketchy, and then bowled 17, and then once my upshot on 18 was safe, and I got some fist bumps from Evan and Ezra, that's when I knew it was actually locked up. So up until that point, I was still like, I gotta try.
Did you have any like emotions or anything that hit you when you were like, wait a minute, I've been here so many times, and you actually hits you that I might actually take this one down? Like, what does it feel like?
Yeah, so strong. I mean, they like asked me in the post round interview after the second round, I think when I was in the lead, like what it would mean to me. And in that, like he asked that question, I'm like, I hadn't even obviously won the tournament yet, but it was as close as I've kind of been. And so I was like, you can kind of start to feel those feelings a little bit. So we gotta have to push them away, lock in, try to play the rest of the tournament, and then like walking up 18 after I got the fit. Like once Evan and Ezra gave me the fist bumps, I was like, wow, that's it. That's like I've won. And then it's like then all the emotions hit.
Awesome. So you set the course record with a minus 14 at the Monster during the Pro Worlds. How did you mentally prepare for that round? And some pros are calling it the greatest round of all time, Ezra. The greatest round of all time. That's up there with Paul McBeth, with Rick, Eagle, Simon, some of the greatest rounds ever shot. So what is that? What do you think? What's your thoughts on that round? Is it the best round ever shot?
Yeah, it's not a bad title to kind of have. I think I might agree with it. I mean, obviously I may be biased, but people have talked to me about it, and we've kind of talked about all the rounds and stuff, and like with how difficult the Monster is. I think it's definitely in the running if it's not the best round ever.
What did you go any like? What was there? Was there any different preparation or any different like workouts or meals or mental preparation or meditation or anything you did more like just for Worlds that you didn't do for anything else, or is it more about your routine?
Yeah, I wish I knew if there was something different, because then I could just apply whatever was different to like future rounds. But thinking back to it, it seemed kind of the same as every other round. I had like 5 minutes less of warm up than I maybe wanted to, so it might have been like a touch rushed. But I don't know. I mean, I felt so bad going into that course in practice. It just beat me up so bad, and I had like no confidence. I would talk to some of my homies in the Airbnb on Discraft and just be like, I hate this course. I can't seem to figure it out. It just beats me up every time in practice. So I didn't have a whole lot of confidence in the actual course. So I don't know. Sometimes I guess it's just like it's better. It's more important to throw good shots than just to like have confidence, or like have a good mental game. It's like just throw good shots, make the putts.
I have a little bit of thoughts on that mentality, going into it a little bit rushed and then feeling a little underprepared. In a way, it can take the pressure away. Do you feel like that was a part of it?
Maybe. I think there was a pressure in the sense of like I was almost scared going into it too. I was like, I think just the thought of like this course is so difficult and it can beat you up so bad and it can take you out of the tournament if you just mess up. That like some of that fear maybe helped like lock me in a little bit more, because I've had some really hot rounds on some really tough courses before as well that I wouldn't necessarily pick for myself to have hot rounds at. And so I don't know if that maybe sometimes contributes to it. It's just like that feeling like you have to be hyper focused in order to perform. And so it kind of like forces that sometimes.
Very good. Thank you. As a vegan since childhood, how has your diet influenced your athletic performance? And do you feel like it gives you an advantage over your competitors?
It's a good question. I mean, yeah, it's impossible for it to not affect, obviously like what goes in your body is going to affect the outcome of it. I do think I think vegan, plant-based, whole food plant-based is like the ideal diet. And I think you'll mostly start to see the effects of that like long term. So like hopefully like when I'm 60, 70, I'm still active and in shape and fit and all those things. So obviously there's a lot of people on all that maybe don't have even like decent diets, but the body's pretty resilient. So at this point, it's not necessarily as much of an advantage, but I don't know. I think like with how many beans I eat, and obviously the protein intake, but being plant-based protein is an advantage. And I think being muscular is an advantage in the sense of it should be more injury preventative. Does that make sense?
We're obviously eating less inflammatory foods in general, which is obviously something you're conscious of. I think, depending on how your body is, people tend to react to meat or especially like fried foods, people that eat sugar.
Mhm.
Like you don't put any of that crap in your body is my understanding. And I feel like
Yeah,
it
for the most
reflect
part.
yeah, everybody's got a
Yeah,
little thing here and there,
yeah.
but
I'm not like 100% strict. Like every now and again, I'll dabble in something that's not as healthy, but for like 98, 99% of the time, it is
Mhm.
pretty strict whole food plant based.
So you transitioned from real estate into pursuing disc golf full time. You were on a path that was really stable. It was clear. You knew exactly what the next day was going to hold for you, it seems like, for the most part. How do you go from a stable game plan like that to the basically most unstable situation, traveling in a Prius and joining the Disc Golf Pro Tour? Like, what is it like going from something so stable to so unstable?
Yeah, I'm not sure I would call like entrepreneurial like real estate investing type of career as super stable though. Like there's a lot of risk you take on, and it's kind of just like you don't have a boss to talk to. Like it's not even close to as stable as like a normal job. So I think there's like a lot of that like entrepreneurial mindset that you can kind of carry over to disc golf. So it's like we're kind of on our own out here as well. We're trying to make our way. We're trying to make the right decisions. We're trying to figure out how to practice all that stuff. So it's kind of there are some similarities. But as far as like the monetary side of it goes, I think the real estate was definitely a more safe bet. We had that one year where we bought some houses, fixed them up, and flipped them, and we did okay money wise. But it was just like, man, we spent 9 months here just walking like 11 hours a day, skipping lunch sometimes because when you are your own boss, sometimes you work yourself harder than an actual boss would.
Mhm.
And so it was like, even if we end up having a bunch of money, if we spend all of our time just walking, it's not even worth it anyway. Like you have to have free time in order for money to even be like valuable. And I was like, we could just, I was like, we can always just do this when we're old. Like if I'm 50 years old and broke, you can get back into doing something like that and try to make money at that point. But at that point in time, I wouldn't be able to like do disc golf. So I wanted to try to take advantage of the age that I was at, and disc golf seemed like a good outlet and something I was somewhat confident in being able to make like an actual career out of.
That's actually a great segue into my next question. What do you think is your athletic prime for professional disc golf? Do you think it's 30, 35, 40? And what do you think your physical prime is going to be?
Man, it's tough to say. I think on tour physical prime typically is like maybe like 30 years old. It's hard to say because like Gannon's obviously one of the best players that ever lived, and he's 20. So
Yeah.
I don't want to say that young is the physical prime. Um, but it seems like when people hit about 35, 40s, and they kind of start to slow down, and then they typically get transition over to the Masters, and those are obviously some really good players in at that 40 years old age. So I think for me, I think if I can stay healthy and I do try to take care of my body pretty well, I think I should be able to be competitive into my 40s would be the ideal. As far as the prime goes, I don't think it's tough. There's so much more to the game than just the physical side too. So it's like you could be physically prime at 30 and like not as physically prime at 40, but then maybe your mental prime is 40, and so you actually are a better player. Um, but I think I'm probably in my physical prime now, but hopefully I can just make that last for another 5, 6, 7 years or so.
And hopefully, with your healthy lifestyle, you can extend it further. You're not the average
Right.
disc golfer, and you don't have the average body for a disc golfer. So hopefully, you can extend it beyond the
Yeah.
lifespan of an average pro disc golfer. So
Yeah.
that makes a
That's
lot
the
of
goal.
sense.
And like to look at golf, which is kind of a somewhat similar sport. I think disc golf's more athletic. But like Phil Mickelson won a PGA event when he was like 50, I think. So
Yeah.
if we can look at that, it's like obviously it's a little bit more physically demanding. So I don't think 50 is maybe the number, but like 45 seems realistic, even though that's I don't know. I think it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sounds crazy right now, but when you're 40 and you're almost 45, I can almost guarantee as long as you keep up with your health the way you have been, 45 is not out of the question to still be within your prime. So
Yeah.
your brother caddied for you and your win at Des Moines. Your dad was there at Worlds. What's your family's impact on your career, and do they help you when there's a lot of pressure on the line here?
Yeah, I think so. It's also like it's one of those things where it's impossible for your family and your upbringing not to affect things. Like my family is obviously a huge part of my life, especially growing up, and so um, it's inevitable that it's like has a big impact. My brother, like, we competed in everything growing up. We would have video games we would compete in, or golf, or swimming, or whatever it was. And so he's super competitive and knows course management and all that stuff really well. As a good golfer as well, he has like a lot of that skill set, so that's helpful, and kind of pull confidence from that. My dad was my golf coach in high school, and so he also has a good understanding of like that side of the game as well. And so it's nice to have somebody on the bag that I am close with and trust, and just like have that like good presence. So I mean, obviously these last two tournaments with them on the bag, all pretty good results. So it'd be nice to maybe I just need to like fly them out to more events and try to get some more success.
I mean, your family's going to be, I feel like, the people you're most comfortable around. So do you
Right.
feel like that level of comfort is more important than someone with more experience as a caddy? Because there's a trade-off there.
Yeah, I think so. For me, I would definitely rather have my brother on the bag or my dad on the bag than like someone else who's caddied a bunch just for a different player. Um, yeah, I don't know. Caddies aren't really. It's not as much of a thing in disc golf yet. Like they don't have like legit salaries, and there's a few people on tour that bring caddies with them to a lot of events. But um, yeah, like Matt Schlabach caddies for Gannon a lot. And I'm not like super close with Matt, but I would rather have Judah caddy for me, even though he has technically less experience caddying. I have more experience with him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think that relationship can be more important than the experience the caddy actually has. It's the amount of experience that they have with you. And there's no one that's
Right.
had more time with you than your brother. So that makes a lot of
Exactly.
sense.
Exactly.
So you've spoken about dedicating years to field work, analyzing your throw against other pro players, or when you were trying to
Yeah.
become a pro, like people who were better than you at the time. What was one technique that you learned from a pro that changed your game?
Oh man, that's tough. 'Cause every technique that I've learned is from a different pro, and every single one's obviously changed my game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one this season that's been big is like pre-setting my wrist, pre-cocking my wrist back beforehand. And I don't know if I learned it necessarily from someone specifically. I know Brody's talked about it like in the past few years. I guess it never really clicked with me until kind of this season. But it's something that like people do even if they don't realize it. So like if you have a good forehand, you probably pre-cock even if you don't think you do. So just like seeing all the pros do it to where they have it pre-cocked and then they throw the forehand, I can learn from that even if it's not necessarily like something that they're thinking about. Another one is like kind of keeping the disc in place while your body moves forward. So it's like instead of like actually reaching back with your arm, the disc kind of stays in place, then you kind of just move your body around it.
Mm-hmm.
I probably learned that from maybe Simon, I guess. Again, mostly just like visually seeing that's what's happening, and then kind of trying it out for myself more so than like going to a clinic or seeing a YouTube video in that sense.
And have you ever expressed to Simon or someone you learned some of that, like, hey, I am doing this tip because I learned it from you? Because you're playing with these guys now. You're on the stage with them. Do you ever have those types of conversations like, hey, your video helped me with my backhand or my forehand or this or that? Or is that not something you really talk about with the other pros?
Yeah, I maybe said that to Will Schuster before because he was a guy I looked up to a lot when I was building my form, or probably Yuli as well. One this season is there was a couple months this year where I was trying to focus on keeping my head back while doing my backhand shot and trying to kind of keep my head out of the way to where you kind of just like keep your head square and then throw through it. That's something that the Goose Man does insanely well. So
Mm-hmm.
like you can see like a still shot of him throwing a disc, and if you get the right frame to where it's like the disc is coming out of his hand and his head is still way back, it's pretty obvious what he's doing there. So I've told him that I've obviously seen that as well, and I don't know, there's just a lot of things you can pick up on.
And seeing him do that on every throw is probably a constant reminder for you to like keep your head back because you just see him do it every single throw.
Yeah, and I think it's always good to look at the people who execute the shots really well too. Like if you want to putt really well, you probably want to copy somebody who putts really well. And if you see somebody who's like pretty much leading the field and throwing every single week, probably try to see what they're doing for the throwing. See
Right.
who's got a massive forehand. Okay, well, what's their technique look like for forehand? So I think it makes sense.
That leads me right into a great segue into the next question. You've thrown 600 foot plus with the backhand. That's a rare feat that not many people have accomplished ever with a disc. So what is the secret to unlocking that level of distance? Is it just because you're jacked? Is it technique? It's all in the bicep. Like what's up with that?
I would. Yeah, I mean the technique's got to be the main thing because you see quite a few different body types that all have big distance. Obviously, I think height and wingspan is a big advantage as well, and flexibility. Like those things are probably uh, more important for distance than like muscle mass. Yeah, I mean, technique's the main one. You know, getting the timing of the technique right to where all the joints pass each other at the right time, and then obviously things like just getting the disc on the right line and having the right nose angle and spin rate and all that stuff. But technique's going to be the thing that increases distance more than anything else.
That was a perfect opportunity for you to say Nuke's baby, by the way, and you kind of fumbled that a little bit. You could have said Nuke's
Nukes,
baby.
baby. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Disc golf is growing rapidly, but contracts often come with NDAs. How do you feel about transparency with sponsorship deals? And do you think transparency would help push disc golf forward or pull it back?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of up to the player on the manufacturer to kind of agree on that. I think some contracts it definitely would be beneficial for the sport to have them open and not have the NDAs for. Like, you know, when Paul's after signing $10 million contracts for 10 years, like that's something that like can open people's eyes to the amount of money in the sport, and then it's like it's somewhat more of a legit job. It's kind of unfortunate that it's easy to just look at the payout and then think that the sport's kind of a joke because you win a tournament and you get like 10 grand, and it's like if you're not in disc golf at all, then you look at that and it's like, okay, well these guys, like this isn't an actual job at all. This is like it's not even a real sport, even though most of the money is on the sidelines, kind of hidden behind the sponsorships and things like that. So I think for a decent amount of the playoffs, I think having no NDA and having some of that stuff public would probably help bring some legitimacy to the sport and help with like younger players maybe taking it seriously and wanting to actually make it a career.
Do you think it's important though for players who are getting into the sport? Like, there's only 5 players that are going to make $1 million in disc golf. I'd say like 90% of the field is going to make a lot less than that, maybe 20,000, maybe 30,000, maybe 40,000. Do you feel like it's important for those contracts to be a little more transparent as well, so people actually know what they're getting into, like young kids? Like, you probably are not going to get rich off of this because you're probably not going to be a Simon or a Paul McBeth. Do you feel like that's important too, or should we just put the big numbers out there for the attention and to help people dream big? I think it's something worth talking about.
That is a good point too. Because yeah, if you're not like a top 25 player, then it's definitely more difficult. And so that's, I guess, a more realistic level for people to maybe look at because it is really tough to be at the top level. It's really tough to be a Paul McBeth or Simon or an Eagle who gets $1 million. So yeah, I think I like what you said there. I think maybe having more of it transparent makes sense and it's just more honest. You know, it gives people a better idea of what's going on and what the disparity. What's that word?
Disparity.
Like disparity between the top and bottom, which you have that in pretty much every career path you take. Every sport you have people at the top getting paid way more than people at the bottom. That's just kind of how it goes in general. So it wouldn't be any different in disc golf.
I do think in disc golf too, the players that are the best and that love it the most were playing even when they were basically playing for free anyway. They were playing for $500 back in the day, and it's like Paul McBeth won a lot of tournaments and won a few $100, and he was still out there. So the money is important too, but the good players are going to rise to the top no matter how much money is there. But that's kind of how I feel about that.
Yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, that was the thing too. Like back in the days of me hopping in my Prius, it was before the COVID boom, and so it was one of those things where it's like I knew going into it that I thought going into it that the money wasn't like that legit. Like it wasn't like a super intelligent career decision to switch to that because it just there wasn't much money in the sports. Partly why I like started YouTube and did social media and all that stuff because Simon and Eagle kind of laid out the foundation for that as far as kind of capitalizing as much as you can and making it as sustainable as possible. Because especially back in those days, like if you weren't doing some of the extra stuff and also playing really well and being all the things you need to be, then it's like it's just harder to stay on tour and make it an actual living and keep doing it. So
I would say over the last few years, one of the biggest improvements to your game is your Circle 2 putting. I think that's, you really had some room to grow there, and it seemed like you identified that, you worked on it, and you've that's one of the biggest parts of your game now that I feel like you kind of shine at. What was your game plan in identifying the weakness, like addressing
Yeah.
it? And then you've been awesome from circle 2. You've made a ton of great putts this year. Circle's edge,
Right.
outside the circle. What did that process look like to go from that being one of the lower parts of your game to one of the best parts of your game?
Yeah. I think early on in my touring career, I played I think it was a tournament down in Texas. This might have been 2019 or 2020. Played a tournament in Texas with Kevin Jones and maybe Chris Dickerson. But they were making these jump putts and step putts from everywhere. And I was like, man, this is a part of the game I don't have at all. Like, I need to figure out something to make it to where these Circle 2 putts are actually possible for me. So then from that day on, I kind of started working on the step putt. And I liked Yuli's step putt at the time as well. And so I kind of pulled from some of those techniques. Again, that's kind of what you have to do. And so then I developed the step putt. And that was honestly really good for a few years. And then this year, I kind of completely went away from it. It wasn't feeling very good at the Memorial, which is just, the ATR in the off season. And then I figured out how to get more pop out of my wrist, and so I can actually standstill putt from a lot deeper than I used to be able to. And so I don't have the need to step putt from Circle 2 anymore. And so this year has been probably one of my better seasons for Circle 2 putting, even though I've stepped away from the step putt again. So it's kind of one of those things that just kind of evolves over time. And I guess thankfully it's been going in the right direction.
And do you think step putting inside Circle 2 should be discontinued by the PDGA? Should they just go with the standstill putt 60 feet and in? What do you think?
Well, see, now that I don't step putt anymore, yes, absolutely. Let's get it out. It only involves Anthony at this point. So yeah, for sure. Now, I honestly, I still think it's fine if it's allowed. It is kind of risky to step putt from 35 feet because it has so much pace that a lot of times if you do miss the basket, you're blowing it by 30 feet and you have to try to make a good comeback. Also, it's a little bit of a risky reward. There's also a lot of putts that if you have like a low ceiling with trees or something, that the step putt it's almost necessary to even make a putt. So I don't really see the need to push it back. You're always gonna have the problem of foot faults, even if it's at 60 feet instead of 30 feet. So it doesn't really solve the issue; just kind of moves it back to 65 feet or whatever it is. So I don't know. I would leave it the way it is and let people step up if they want to, but I think there's a good chance that it gets cut out or at least moved back to like 45 feet or something.
So I haven't given my opinion on a lot of stuff yet so far in this interview, but I do think that they should get rid of that circle inside, like outside the circle, step putting and jump putting. I think probably shouldn't be a thing because visually, I think it looks silly from someone watching disc golf for the first time. You watch the Pro Tour, and they're like, you could so easily just toss it that distance, but people are throwing their entire body at the target, and the thing's 30 feet away. Or you're like, does it really require that much power to throw the disc 30 feet into the basket? Visually, it looks cheesy, and I think it looks really like when someone like you steps up from 50 feet and you don't jump putt and you just spin that sucker in there. Like it's like a 3-pointer in basketball. It's just visually satisfying. And I feel like you would get cooler putting highlights if people weren't jump putting and step putting. But that's my opinion. Maybe that's against the majority, but that's how I feel.
That's valid. I like that perspective on it too, because I think like the visual part of the game is important. Like we want this sport to like look cool to people. We want people to like turn on YouTube and see it and like initially get hooked and be like, this is something I want to watch. And so if there is something that looks kind of funky like that, then yeah, I guess that's a decent reason to factor in as far as cutting things out. Do you think C2 is the line for that then? That's where it should start?
Yeah, I think anything inside C2, you should probably just be spinning it in there. I also think it makes for a bit more scoring separation. Obviously, it benefits Gannon, it benefits you, it benefits certain players, but again, the players that are truly gifted at putting, they don't need to jump and step putt. They just do it because I feel like it almost cheeses the system a little bit. You're just doing it because you can, not because you need to. And I feel like getting away from that could make the game more visually appealing to new people getting into it.
Yeah, cool.
But, we're not here to interview me. We're here to interview you. So we'll move on to the next question.
I like that whole thing, though. It's good to go outside of it because I think most people that argue against step putting, they argue against it on the side of like the foot faults or the fact that it makes putting too easy or whatever it is, which is I think that one's kind of ridiculous because like anyone can step on it if they want to. So it's like if people have all butthole about it, they can just don't step on it. But
Right.
yeah, it's nice to hear a different perspective.
Have you ever been starstruck by the players on your card at a tournament?
A little bit more so back in the day. I mean, obviously I've been on 2L for a long time now, so I've become friends with some of these guys and stuff. The biggest one was before I started touring. I think maybe in 2018 or 2019 or something. I went to Waco, and I think it was hole 14 maybe. Those like little par three. Yeah, 14. And I think Yuli got a birdie on it. And he was like walking by me as he was going to the next tee box, and I was like too nervous to say like, "Oh, nice birdie or good putt or whatever it was." I was like gonna give him a fist bump. I was like, I didn't do it. But that was like my one main yeah, starstruck or just like nervous moment. And then like within a year after that, I was like touring with him in the RV. So that was kind of a funny one.
So you went from being you folded because you were so nervous you couldn't even fist bump the guy. Man, that's crazy. But now he's like one of your best friends. I feel like you guys are pretty close now. At least that's my perception of it.
Like, yeah, you start to realize pretty quick that like everybody's just people too. It's like there's no. I mean, it's easy to put people on a pedestal, but it's like what like some people just throw the disc battle. It's like it doesn't really make them. It's not like anyone's actually better than anybody else. It's just you have one skill that makes you different.
Yeah, no, I agree. I couldn't agree with you more on that.
Yeah.
What's one course that you haven't played that's on your bucket list, and why does it intrigue you? And this is something not specifically for tournament play, but somewhere that you really want to play like a casual round at.
Ooh, man, that's a good question. Yob is the one that comes to mind first, but I don't know if that exists anymore. But I think I can maybe still say it. Is that the one that got cut out because of like a cemetery or whatever it was?
Which
you
one?
Up somewhere?
Oh,
Yarva?
Oh, Yarva. I don't know anything about Yarva, but Yarva would be your answer.
Yeah. I think that's the one that comes to mind. That's one of the courses that everyone talks about is like one of the best courses of all time. But we don't play it anymore. I think it doesn't. I don't even know if it exists. But that's the one that came to mind.
All right, I've got 3 questions
left.
left.
You have one for that?
Oh, dude. Well, you guys have the opportunity to play all the courses in the world that are like the best.
Right, so it's harder for me to answer. Yeah.
So I'll give you an example of a course that I've played that not a lot of you guys have probably played. It's called Poimina Reserve. It's in Tasmania. So when I was living overseas, we would hop on a flight from Melbourne to Tasmania, and that is like a badass, super sick. Like you're on this island that's huge mountains surrounding you, but then like massive bodies of water like between the mountains, and it's just kind of like Vermont in a way where it's just magical. Like I play a lot of the courses that I seek out is because they have like that beauty to them. And it's not always about the course needs to be good, but I love when they're in these magical areas. So when I see you guys playing in like Denmark and Finland and Sweden and all that, like that's where I would want to go play, but I haven't unfortunately gotten to go out there yet. But yeah, that would be my answer. Just I love the European disc golf.
PCS would be a good one for you. The one up in northern Norway. That's probably the one you'd want to go to.
So that's my answer. PCS in Norway. That's my answer.
Right.
So disc golf growth means more eyes on the sport. What is some changes you'd like to see the PDGA and the Disc Golf Pro Tour make to make disc golf more appealing to the fans?
Have you seen Happy Gilmore 2 yet? Happy Gilmore 2?
Yeah, I thought it was trash.
Did you?
Yeah.
I was just gonna make a joke saying that we need to do some of that stuff, but they did for like the live knockoff, whatever they're trying to make fun of.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. I think this last World Championships is one of the best events we've ever had for disc golf. I think the fact that you could go watch the Beast for free was huge because I think that helps a lot with getting way more people in there spectating. And I think having 10,000 people on site again kind of legitimizes the sport and makes it look like something people want to attend. So I think if we can get more people actually watching, and maybe that is, maybe that comes about if we lower ticket prices. I think that'd be huge. I think another thing that could help, obviously if we get payouts up, that would help too. As a player, especially that's kind of selfishly, I'd like to see that as well. But yeah, it'd be nice to get it on TV, but it's also tough because it's kind of catch-22 with the growth of the sport. Like if we can get it on TV, then it'll help grow the sport. But in order to even get on TV, we have to grow false to enough people to watch, to tune in, to like buy the advertisement stuff. So it's a tough one. I had one more point too I was going to say that I think could be beneficial, but now it's blanking my mind. I think as far as the actual event goes, I think it'd be good to have more like off-course activities. It's like if you're the only person in your family that likes disc golf, but you want to bring your whole family, like I think having some like mini games and discs and all that kind of stuff off the actual course, just kind of at the event, could be a good way to keep people entertained and make like an actual like thing you go to instead of just going to watch disc golf. Because I think that could be kind of boring for a lot of people if you try to watch the entire round. So I think that could help as well.
I actually have one for this too, and the Disc Golf Pro Tour will probably never do this, but I think doing something as simple as like you're going to reduce your short-term ROI, but playing every big tournament that's super popular, make it free on YouTube all rounds. I
like that too.
I think doing that would be an absolute game changer, and I think the short-term ROIs, like obviously they're going to lose a lot of money, and it's going to suck, but I think the long-term ROI could even be like a 50x, like having that, like just the best ones. So Vermont, Maple Hill, all the majors, like only the fan favorites, free for everybody on YouTube. And I think that would get a lot more people watching disc golf, that one change.
Right. They do a little bit of like, sometimes they'll have like the fourth round free, I think, on YouTube, which obviously isn't quite the same thing as having the actual event. If people want to watch Sunday, that's like the main day to watch. I think that's a valid idea though, especially just having some of the events like that, because then you get a lot of new people to like watch a tournament for the first time, and then maybe they'll go subscribe and for DGN and try to watch the other events because they liked it. I think that'd be solid. How about this idea too? How about having just events only like big cities? I feel like we have a lot of tournaments on tour that are just kind of in the middle of nowhere. And it's tough to get people to come spectate if it's like Emporia, Kansas is a good example. It's like 2 hours away from Kansas City, just doesn't spectate very well. How about if we just put up more temp courses on golf courses and have them, big cities? Like I think Portland's a good example of that. Like Glendivier, like that's probably maybe the second best spectate event behind Tampere. It's like it's in Portland, so it's like it makes sense that people would come show up.
Yeah, my only pushback to that is a lot of the disc golf fans are like legacy fans, like they've been fans for a long time. And if you go away from the roots too far, you will lose a lot of the legacy fans. And every good business, I feel like, runs on prioritizing your current customer over the new customer. And so I feel like there's a fine line where you could lose more people than you gain by doing that. But I think if they prioritized having 1 out of every 4 events within an hour of a major city. Again, it doesn't, like, every tournament doesn't need to be like that, but I do think it's valid to do it sometimes. But you don't want to lose the leg. Like, you wouldn't want if your fan base all of a sudden hated pro disc golf because it changed so much and they stopped buying your tour series and they stopped watching you play and they stopped doing that because it's not the same as it used to be. So we need to keep that sort of legacy style of disc golf alive, while it's welcoming the modern, because we need to make changes. You're 100% right. We need to be in more major metropolitan areas, but you can't completely disregard, where disc golf came from, because those are the people that are going to continue watching, for the next 10 years, right? The people that watched during COVID, a lot of them don't watch anymore anyway. So we got the boom, and then those guys aren't really watching anymore. But the people that were there before, all those guys are still watching, right? So it's a fine line of where I think they need to head, but I do think that's a super good point.
Right.
All right. What are 2 pieces of disc golf equipment that you swear by and that you cannot live without?
It'd be tough to play disc golf if I didn't have my squash bag.
Well, there
I didn't have a bag to put on my disc. Let's just give squash a shout out. Another one would be like my rangefinder, I guess. It's pretty nice to know how far away I am from the basket. That's not sponsored, unfortunately. But I think other than that, I mean, obviously, if I could say discs, I would obviously say discs, but I don't think that really works. Oh man, towels. Towels probably more important than the rangefinder, actually. I got my chalk bag now too. That's kind of important. But I can use dollop. So I would say let's go my squash bag and then my let's go towel. Let's go towel. Oval rangefinder.
I also think you're going to be a lot more likely to secure a towel sponsor than a dirt sponsor. So you should definitely go with towel. Go with towel for sure.
Good point.
5 years from now, where do you see yourself in disc golf, and what does your legacy look like for the incoming generation?
Let's find out. I don't know. I can't read I can't know the future. You know, it's not a store that I know the end to. So I don't believe it. I think I have to just skip that question, honestly. I mean, 5 years from now, like obviously I still want to be competitive. I want to be even more towards the top. I want to be winning more tournaments, just doing better overall. Yeah, it's just trying to kind of always push.
You and I are very similar in a lot of ways. I feel like I'm the same way. I don't have a 5-year plan. I don't even believe in 5-year plans. I was curious what you would say to that, because I also don't really believe in a 5-year plan, because you never know you barely know what tomorrow holds, let alone a year from now or 5 years from now. So I totally understand 100%. Where you're coming from with that. All right, I got one last thing for you. You and I have done 4 videos together where we competed head to head. I've beaten you twice, and then you've beaten me twice.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
When you're in Charlotte, what is video number 5? What is the battle? How are we going to settle this thing?
Let's do a distance contest, Dylan. How about that? Let's do a distance contest.
No way. That is ridiculous. I'm going to take you to Angry Beaver, the tightest, narrowest wooded course possible, to render your distance powerless. And we're going to battle to the death, 9 holes, winner take all.
Hey, I'm down for that too, though. I don't mind wooded tracks too much these days. So
all right, so you and me, Angry Beaver, 9 holes, winner take all. That's going to be the best of 5 series behind us. All right.
Hopefully we can make it happen.
It was a good mix of questions for you. Is there anything else that you want to plug or shout out, or anything you feel like you have some more value to bring to the fans that you want to talk about?
Oh man, do I have any value I can bring? I don't know. Thanks for having me on. I mean, it was fun. I don't know how many episodes you've got going, but keep it rolling for sure. Try to get some more pros on. It'd be cool to keep doing these. As far as shout outs go, I'll shout out Discraft, shout out Squatch, shout out OTB Discs and Power DGA, because trying to improve your disc golf game, work on that technique. You can sign up there too. That's about it. Supporting them supports me. So thanks for rooting me on. And if you haven't checked out the YouTube videos with Gooseman and myself, head on over to YouTube and check me out there as well.
Yeah, I watch your guys' practice round during the week. And then half the time I don't even watch the tournament. So I enjoy your guys' practice rounds a lot. So like I'll watch your practice round, and I don't always feel like I have to watch the tournament, which might be crazy, but like I just like the raw, authentic, like you guys are being yourselves, and I love what you're doing out there. Like it just feels like I'm watching my 2 buddies play disc golf, and that's like I feel like I'm like a grassroots disc golf fan, and that appeals to me so much. So I feel like more players should be doing what you guys are doing. So yeah, sometimes I watch your practice round, don't even watch the tournament. So yeah, keep it up. I've really been enjoying it. It's been super fun to watch. Well, all right, Ezra, thank you for being on the channel. I'll not take up any more of your time. You did really well. I appreciate you answering all my questions. Honestly, that's you're the first person I asked to do this new series with, and it's because I appreciate your opinion and I enjoy talking with you. So hopefully you didn't mind being on the channel.
Heck yeah, man. Thanks, Dylan. Appreciate you having me on as the first one, too.
All right. See ya.
Come on again. See you, man.